And even though I'm using a nonstick pan, which is a really great help to having a perfect outside crust, I'm also going to spray it with a nonstick spray that has flour as well as shortening. If it just had the shortening in it, it might not release 100%. So I'm spraying evenly. It doesn't require much. Just make sure you get it all over. And another tip for keeping it from having, sometimes there are little bubbles in the crust, is take a brush and just brush out the excess. And then you have a smooth, even coating so that you're not going to get any holes in the outside of the cake. And now it's ready for the batter. For this amount of batter, I usually use a 9-cup pan. So this is going to bake in a preheated 350-degree oven, just like most cakes, for 55 to 60 minutes or until it tests done. Be sure and smooth it evenly around because you can see it's a very thick batter. It's not going to move on its own. You have to give it a little help. We have another one baking in the oven, so while it's baking, I'm going to show you how to make a simple lemon syrup that I'm going to brush on the cake as soon as it comes out of the oven. We're simply combining lemon juice, freshly squeezed, and granulated sugar. We're going to bring it to a boil, stirring constantly, pour it into a little measuring cup, and just keep it warm until it's time to brush onto the cake. And generally, with this amount of sugar that's necessary to temper the acidity of the delicious lemon juice, it doesn't dissolve completely until it almost comes to a boil. You can see now that it's almost at a boil that it's completely clear, which means all the sugar has dissolved into the syrup. So I can turn it off and pour it into the little measure. And by pouring it into a glass measure, I'll be able to see what approximately half is, because half is going to be brushed into the top of the cake and the other half on the outside of the cake. You can see it's about 1/3 of a cup. And now I'm going to take the cake out of the oven. I'm testing it to check and see if it's baked through, and it's bouncing back, jumping back up when I press it lightly. Also, putting a skewer in and seeing if it comes out clean means it's done, but it is also the perfect thing because I'm going to poke the whole rest of it with the same skewer because that will help it to absorb the syrup more quickly. And I like to make this cake 12 hours ahead because that gives it a chance, the syrup, to infiltrate and completely be absorbed evenly throughout the whole cake. This is going to give it an extra lemony flavor, plus it's going to give it extra moistness. And this enables the cake to keep for several days at room temperature because lemon and the sugar both preserve it. This is a great cake to make as a present to send to give at Christmas time because it's so pretty and also it's so easy to do. I always like to make sure that it hasn't stuck to the center, and with all the preparation of the pan, it's very unlikely that it did. But with either a cake tester or a skewer, just run it around the center. And then either invert it onto a greased wire rack or invert it directly onto the serving plate if you're planning to serve it in a relatively short amount of time. Okay, now this is fairly heavy because these pans are wonderful and heavy, so you have to do it with one deft swing. Whoa! Okay, made it. And now is the test to see if I've done a good job and it's come out whole. Perfect. You can see how smooth, there's not a single air bubble. And I don't like to make holes in the outside part because if I put a skewer in, it will probably seal itself up, but you can see that you can kind of see a little hole. So at this point, I'm just a little patient and brush it slowly so that it will absorb even though it doesn't have any holes. And now I'm going to brush the entire cake with the remaining syrup. Okay, and after it's completely brushed, if you're not willing to let it sit and wait, if you just can't wait, you can decorate it if you want to with just a slight touch of powdered sugar. And I have it in a canister so it comes out very evenly. If you fill it too much, it doesn't sprinkle out very well, so don't fill it more than 3/4 full. And see, just that little touch isn't going to add too much sweetness, but it sort of brings it to life. And of course, fruit is always beautiful. You can use cherries, strawberries, whatever's in season, a mix, or just stick to one. A little bit of green. Raspberries are lovely. So here you have my favorite lemon poppy seed pound cake. Depending on the mold you choose, it can suit any occasion, from the fanciest holiday to a simple family meal. I hope you'll love it as much as I do.